What's up, guys? I'm BTC. We just got some more information about upcoming hero balance changes and possible reworks occurring in Overwatch 2. Most of these look like they're aimed at happening during Season 4, although some of them are small enough to where they could happen a lot sooner than that, maybe in the next couple weeks. The first character is going to be Sombra. We've known for a while she's getting a rework, but they haven't really told us much about it, and now finally we have the information, and it looks like they're going to be making some pretty significant changes. Right now, Sombra has a very passive playstyle. You can go behind the enemy team, stay invisible, you can hack an enemy target, deal a little bit of damage, build up your ult charge, and you can just kind of sit there, right? And you reposition a little bit here and there, but you're always invisible, so it's a very passive playstyle, and it looks like they want to change it to a much more active playstyle. And to do that, they're going to be removing the permanent invisibility, and it's going to go back to what it originally was. I forget if it was 8, 9, 10 seconds, something like that. You activate your invis, you can get to where you need to go, whether it's behind the enemy team or wherever. But once you get to that spot, then you need to do something with it. So it requires a much more active playstyle. They also talked about adding a new ability to the character that is going to be more interesting than what she currently has, which is the teleporter. Now, the teleporter is an amazing ability, and it allows Sombra to escape almost everything, unless the enemy team has a lot of burst damage, like a Hanzo, a McCree, a Sojourn, a Widow, someone like that that can do high amount of burst damage very quickly. Then the Sombra is almost always going to be able to escape, right? A character like Moira, for example, is just never going to be able to take out the Sombra before she can just quickly escape away. So that is kind of an issue, and since they want to add a new ability, it looks like they're going to be replacing the teleporter with whatever that happens to be. My guess, I think it's going to be some sort of damage ability. I can't quite see them adding more utility to Sombra because she already has a whole bunch, and I don't think they're going to add any kind of CC, like, stun, slow, whatever. I mean, they've already done a lot of work to try to get rid of that stuff, so I don't think they would add anything more back, especially when she already has the hack, which is, the silence and whatnot. So what I think it could possibly be is maybe an area effect, or maybe it's a single target, or it could be something that works kind of as a utility, but also functions as a damage. So for example, you could have an ability that attaches to an enemy like a magnate or something, but rather than dealing a large amount of damage just in a burst, it would have a damage over time, and any enemies that happen to get close to that target will take that damage as well. So you'd have a way of causing the enemy team to split up, to separate from each other, and it wouldn't be this, massive amount of burst damage. It would just be like a slow damage over time, and it forces the enemy to split up. And speaking of Magnade, next up is McCree. The Overwatch devs have said that they wanted to change the ability to kind of go in the opposite direction of Sombra, because where Sombra has a tremendous amount of utility, and not a whole lot of it is focused on damage, with McCree, it's the exact opposite. He's all damage, and it's a very simplistic kind of damage. And so the devs said that they wanted to kind of look at changing the Magnade, possibly replacing it entirely with something that might add utility to McCree. But now it looks like they're walking back some of that, and they might not be wanting to completely rework the ability or to add a new ability onto McCree. Instead, it looks like they're looking at just kind of nerfing the Magnade, where they might nerf the distance or something to that effect, nerf the damage, just make it overall a worse ability, but still just making it a very simplistic damage ability, which again kind of is the exact opposite of what they said before, where they wanted to make the character less simple. Well, now they're going to continue making him simple. He's just going to be worse than he was before. Now, hopefully, I think that Magnade should be replaced with something completely different. I'm not exactly sure what that would be, but I don't think McCree's kit really needs any more damage to it. He could absolutely use some kind of utility. Next up is Mercy. She might be getting some more changes in the near future, although the devs have recently said that they're quite happy with where the character is. Now suddenly they've decided, well, maybe they're not so happy, and they've come to the conclusion that perhaps she might be healing a little too much with the changes to her healing, where she has the kind of triage mode where when you have less health, then you get healed for more, and it allows a burst healing that Mercy wasn't able to do before. but now they're saying that maybe it's a little too much, and it actually makes it extremely difficult to deal with certain characters. For example, if you have a tank that is being healed by a Mercy, it is now almost impossible to out-damage that one healer of Mercy on that tank, because she's just has that triage healing, and it's just so much that it is incredibly difficult to actually overcome that healing. You need more than one player on your team targeting the same enemy in order to take it out to counteract all of the bonus healing that Mercy's been doing. So it's a little too strong. My guess is that they're going to end up nerfing that. They also spoke about how players have been crying and whining about the fact that Mercy doesn't have as much mobility as she did before. And I haven't really talked too much about this, but Mercy had one of the best mobilities in the entire game. It was, I believe it was 1.5 seconds where you could cross the entire battlefield horizontally, vertically, whatever, and it was just ridiculous. The fact that a character is capable of moving across the entire battlefield every 1.5 seconds. Now, it did get nerfed to 2.5 seconds, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe it's 2.5 seconds now. And now somehow this is horrible. It's the worst thing ever, which is of course absurd. The idea that any character should have the ability to zip across the entire battlefield every 1.5 seconds is just ridiculous. No character should have that much mobility. It is absurd. But unfortunately, it looks like Blizzard has listening way too much to the whiners and the criers, basically throwing a temper tantrum and a hissy fit because, oh no, Mercy has to wait an extra second in order to use the glide now, and it's terrible. So it looks like the Overwatch devs are going to basically give in, and they're going to revert it, and it might not be down to 1.5 seconds, but it's almost certainly that they are going to change the Guardian Angel cooldown and make it so that it's available more often, because they're going to give in to all the people that are whining and crying about it. Next up is Mei, a character that we haven't heard about in quite a while, and the Overwatch devs said that they want to give her a buff in the form of some sort of increase to her slow, which seems really weird because everything else they've been doing has been trying to reduce CC, and now they want to add more. Essentially, what they want to do is they make it so that the more that you attack an enemy, the more slow they get. So they will, get movement slower and slower and slower the longer that you're attacking them. However, the Overwatch devs were clear that they didn't want it to freeze. Instead, it would just keep increasing this slow, which is kind of what it used to do. Now it doesn't do it to nearly that effect, but it looks like they just want to increase the slow on the character, and I don't know why they want to do this. It doesn't really, I don't know, it's not going to really change anything, and as I've said before, Mei shouldn't even be a DPS character. They should just move her into the tank category, adjust the kit a little bit, and then make her an actual tank. It would work so much better. Everything she has is built around the kit that a tank would have, not a DPS. Even her ultimate is a CC, just like the other tanks have. She has the wall. I mean, almost everything about the character is a tank, and yet she's still slapped into the DPS role, and the Overwatch devs keep trying to put that square peg in the round hole, and they just keep trying, they keep trying and keep trying, and it doesn't work, and no matter how many changes they make, it doesn't work because you're putting the character in the wrong role. Anyways. But instead of that, they're just going to make her slow a little bit stronger, which I don't think is going to solve the issues with the character. So those are the changes that are likely coming up on the horizon. What do you think about them? Let me know down below.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit, I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement. Everything I do so instinctive and